morning. Thanks for being here. It is Monday morning, August 17th, I think. I'm heading to the doctor's. I gotta go do a big follow-up with the doctor. So I had my mammogram done and the results came back abnormal. I have a 10 millimeter lesion in my left breast. So I had to go for a follow-up mammogram and an ultrasound. We have construction up here. That's fun. So I went for all of that. And they did call me pretty well right away. And radiologist had read it and said, yeah, it is a 10 millimeter mass. We're not quite sure what it is, but it was my very first mammogram. I've never had a mammogram done before, and the reason why they only like mammograms like over time. Over a period of time, they like to take a look at what's in there, and then over a period of time, they, collect more data and they know what your baseline is, kind of thing. So, they don't know exactly what it is, and what they want to do is they want to do another mammogram in 6 months. I'm not quite comfortable with that, but I guess it is what it is. I kind of don't want to put myself through a biopsy if I don't have to. You know what I mean? So there's that. And then in September, I spoke with my surgeon last week. I had an appointment with my surgeon. And in September, we booked a new endoscopy to check out what's been going on. I've been getting pains sort of like at the end of my esophagus, beginning of my stomach kind of area. Oh, sandflies. They gross me out. So yeah, so we booked an endoscopy just to go in and take a look. And I have a lot of fears because my brother and my dad, they both passed away from esophagus cancer, and it was a crazy fight for both of them. And, but yeah, within 3 years apart of each other, and it was a crazy time, and it was pretty traumatic, and that has left me with a lot of fears about esophagus cancer. And so he's gonna go in, he'll take a look around all up and down my esophagus and my stomach, and he said if there's anything in there that concerns him, he'll take a biopsy while he's in there. So that'll be in September, and hopefully that will explain the weird pain that I've been having in that area. I don't know if I can, I can't show you. And it's just like where the center of my rib cage, where your rib cage comes together, is just like the center of my rib cage, where it begins to, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But anyway, it's just a weird, nagging, aching pain that I've been having, and none of my doctors really know what it is. I had an ultrasound to check for an aortic aneurysm, which I am, as my doctor said, I am far too young to have. But I did the ultrasound for it, and of course, I'm sure there's nothing there. But I'm going in today to see my family doctor to see what all of my test results have been. I've done blood work too. But So that's where I'm at. And then while all this has been going on, my son's been having a really rough time. So he has, as some of you may know, he has a level 3 autism, and we struggle with meltdowns and aggressive behaviors and eloping behaviors, property destruction and stuff like that. So a couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago now, my son had a really bad meltdown, and it resulted in having to take him to the hospital. I'm gonna keep most of that private because out of respect for him, I'm gonna keep most of that private. But it was a bad meltdown, and it resulted in him being in the hospital. So we ended up having to see another psychiatrist. Not another one, we've seen this psychiatrist before, for him, and he has recommended a medication change, which I'm fine with. I definitely believe that there is a time and place for medication, and when medication is working and it's helpful, that's a good thing. And when it's not working and not helpful, it shouldn't be used. And so there was medication issues at the beginning of the year for my son, and where he was actually having some blackout spells. So that wasn't fun. And I think I'm going to stop and get myself a cup of tea from Tim Hortons. Who doesn't love a cup of Tim Hortons tea? I love it. I can't get enough of the Tim Hortons tea. But yeah, so I'll have to put you on pause for a moment. Okay, I'm back. I got my tea. So where was I? Okay, yeah, Lincoln. So we had to follow up with his pediatrician for a medication change. And that felt like impossible because his pediatrician was on vacation again. And that seems to be an issue with our pediatrician. He goes on vacation a lot, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm just moving on with my life. We've got the medication change now. In other news, also in that same respect, driving. In that same respect, the night at the hospital, we met with the social worker, and the social worker has put together a whole file, like a whole case file kind of thing for Lincoln, and it's going to be really good for him because she's gotten a couple of different mental health centers on board for him. So we're going to be going through URS again. If you're not familiar, here in Ontario, we have something called Ontario, Canada. We have something called Access OAP, and it's for children under the age of 18 with autism. But there's a huge wait list, and basically is depending on the child's needs, you will receive an allotment of funding every year that will cover, well, it won't fully cover, it'll be an allotment of funding that will cover some therapy. So Lincoln is on that wait list. The problem is with that, there is a huge wait list. We do get funding for Luke, but he was diagnosed a lot sooner, and the wait list is dependent on when you were diagnosed, when your child was diagnosed, I should say. So he's on the wait list for that funding, but in the meantime, Access OAP will offer something called urgent response services, which is basically a bit of funding that you can access for your child on an urgent need. So we've gone through this program before, and it is for, you can use it for occupational therapy, ABA therapy, speech therapy, you know, that kind of thing. And you get a little bit of respite with it too, which is nice. So that's what we're doing. The social worker went ahead and put together that package for us, and we are going to be getting some therapy for him. It's once a week. Therapist comes into the home, gather data, prepare a program, and then implement strategies, teach the child strategies and whatnot. So that's where we're at right now. We've just met the therapist, and he's trying to put together some ideas, and we're gonna go from there. I have to collect data and stuff. So yeah, that's about where we're at. But I have to be at the doctor's in 10 minutes, so I better get with the program here and get to the doctor's. So thanks so much for being with me today. I will see you in my next vlog. Bye.